Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Thursday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from theuptrend.com. In the pre-market this morning, stock index futures are currently trading above fair value. They're being led higher by Taiwan Semiconductor, which is up about 8% in the pre-market this morning, and that's going to help erase some of the losses we saw the other day in the semiconductor sector. Now, I am doing this video, and those numbers are pre 8:30 this morning, and at 8:30 we're going to get some important economic numbers which could certainly help change the direction of the market on Thursday morning. Now, one stock that the market's going to be focused on Thursday is Netflix, coming out with earnings after hours. We made a new high 4 days ago and have pulled back. We're currently on our second day of a sell signal, so not a lot of enthusiasm going into these earnings numbers. Now, crude oil has been down over the last week, and that could certainly help the transportation sector, which led the market higher on Wednesday, being led higher by the airlines. There's United, Delta, and Air Canada all moving up sharply on Wednesday. Looking at the major index ETFs, no trend changes from Wednesday's trading action. A new high for the iShares for the TSX 60. The Dow moved up nicely. Fairly quiet trading for the S&P 500. Inside day for the equal-weighted S&P 500. We've got the NASDAQ trading in the channel, so a close on Thursday below $486.68 would give us a new sell signal there. Very quiet trading for the equal-weighted NASDAQ on Wednesday, and an inside day for the next generation NASDAQ. While all that was going on, we saw the Russell 2000, small caps and micro caps all move up nicely on Wednesday. Looking at semiconductors, a very quiet day on Wednesday after that big reversal day on Tuesday. Then we saw insurance companies continue to move higher. So I ask you, looking at this chart, can you spot the two natural disasters that just happened on this chart? That's one of the problems with trying to use what's happening in the news and comparing that to what should be happening to a particular symbol. And certainly the recent natural disasters have not had any negative effect on the insurance sector so far. Looking at the TSX financials, they made a new high for this move on Wednesday, so no change there. We had a little reversal in gold stocks on both sides of the border, but certainly no change in trend. Next up, let's take a look at our 31 stocks. We'll review the stocks we've already covered. Apple still on a buy signal, down another $2 and change on Wednesday. We ran up and tickled our next price target on Tuesday, got 1 penny away from $237.50. Boeing is back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. Not a stock I'd rush into. At the same time, if I was short Boeing, I'd want to cover the remainder of my short position at the open on Thursday. Chipotle still stuck here at $59.38. It ran up to the $60 level and pulled back yesterday. If we can take out $60, then $62.50 certainly comes into play. Canadian Natural Resources has been in the channel for the past 2 days. A close on Thursday below $48.27 would give us a new sell signal. We've got new price targets since the last time we looked at this stock. We certainly had price targets above this level, but 51.56 has now been added, and 48.44 has now been added. So these price targets will expand and contract over time depending on the range that a stock is trading. And if we go and look at the weekly targets, those certainly have not changed. 56.25 was our next weekly target for Canadian Natural Resources. Now, Dollar General and Dollar Tree are still in the doghouse. No change there. Now, Dollarama, on the other hand, made a new high on Tuesday, pulled back 67 cents on Wednesday, so no major move there. Last week at this time, this is what our price targets looked like. The top of our projected trading range was up there at 143.75. Now, we've moved up to that level, and our price targets have now expanded, and so our next price target is 150 if we continue to move higher from here. Looking at Etsy is back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close, joining FedEx, third day of a buy signal for FedEx. FedEx has lots of overhead resistance. We do have our mathematical price targets, which align up nicely with the previous lows. So what was previously support usually acts as resistance on the way back up. Looking at GE Aerospace, still trading up at the upper channel line, so no change there. If we can break out above 193.75, then $200 certainly comes into play. And there we've got Hydro One, second day of a buy signal there, and it looks like the pros want to come back and take control of this stock. So that could at least take us back up to the recent high. Today's stock is Intact Financial. It's really a big insurance company. It's actually our insurance company. They have grown through acquisitions, and they bought our previous insurance company, and one of our relatives works at Intact. So just to be open about that. The stock's doing incredibly well right now, 10 on the weekly charts, 9 on the daily charts, and looking at a monthly chart, you can see everything started back in 2018, where we've just continually moved up month over month. There was one bad month, but it's been many years since we had 4 red dots across the bottom of the screen. So this is a stock the market loves. They want to buy the dips, and we're nowhere near a dip at the moment. So what do you do if you want to get in? Well, one of the things you could do is if you're following the weekly charts, you can see that when we get an early warning signal, it doesn't last very long. And so what I'd be looking for here is the next early warning signal to the downside, and then the reversal. That could be the next time to get into this stock. That isn't happening at the moment. This is not a stock I would want to be buying today. Certainly some people are, but this stock is very overextended right now, no matter how you look at it. We've run up to the 265.63 level on the weekly chart. If we can take that out, then 281.25 does come into play. Another signal you could look for, as you can see that earlier in the year, the pros gave up control for a couple of weeks. The stock really didn't move down that much, and it came back. So we could look for something like that in the future. We could certainly wait for some weakness on the weekly right side chart. And you can see here that we had an early warning signal and quickly reversed. We had an early warning signal, and then 3 weeks later, it reversed. So we'd be looking for something like that to get into this stock. Looking at the weekly panic zone chart, you can see we had an early warning signal a couple of weeks ago, but we blew right through it. So it's having no effect on the stock at the moment. Now, moving to the daily chart, you can see investors want to buy the dip. We're nowhere near a dip at the moment. We would certainly want to take it if one showed up. And again, if you're watching the daily charts, you could look for an early warning sell signal and then an early warning buy signal. And even though the trend has not changed, those signals have happened within the trend. You could certainly want to jump on board. And you can see there was one a couple of days ago. And we are right up here at 265.63. You can see our targets above that at the present time. And there's the daily right side chart where, of course, we just had a new buy signal show up a couple of days ago. But here we are. We are up at the top of the panic zone. So there's nothing low risk about this at this particular time. It is a great stock. People love it long term. They love it short term. But this is a high-risk opportunity up at these levels. And, of course, as we've seen many times, stocks fall faster than they rise. And when investors want to take a profit on this stock, it will come down sharply. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. So far, it looks like the market wants to move higher at the open. But, again, we've got those numbers coming out at 8:30 this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Friday morning.